Right. Hey guys, we're gathered here today to talk about ABC Contract Services and their service centre and adding some strategic alliances. Now, we're only going to add one strategic alliance, but I'm going to present to you two options and we're going to go through the benefits and disadvantages to each and come up with an idea of which one you guys would prefer to go with. So ABC is a contact service centre mainly focusing on small to large businesses. Their absolute strengths in the market so far have been the fact that they are leaders in customer service. Now, their goals are to advance their place in the customer market, and they are managing to progress in that so far. But the only way that ABC is going to continue that progression is by bringing on board one of these strategic alliances. So they're having certain problems, and one of their problems is very high staff turnover. So the staff turnover has been mainly focused on low morale, not a very good working environment, the fact that a lot of their staff are casual, they're not on contracts. So one of the solutions that we're going to look at here is the first strategic alliance is to bring on board a recruitment agency and make an alliance with them. Now, this recruitment agency is very, very experienced in casual workers for specifically contact service centres. So the workers that they are providing are used to going out into contact service centres and working within new environments, new scripts, new businesses, and forming a short-term new teams. The good thing with these is if they're happy somewhere, hopefully we could, bring them in. They could transfer onto our teams if they like it. That could help our staff turnover numbers. We could recruit from this agency. There is a fee for every member that we actually recruit from this agency for our own permanent basis. But if we choose not to recruit them, we still have them there. Now, using these casual workers, it means that we will have less turnover of our own staff and we will not have any staff shortages when our staff turnover increases. So, yes, there is still the issues within our staff, but these members of casual workers for this agency, they are used to coming into places like this. They bring their own staff morale, which should hopefully boost our staff morale. It will change the environment that our staff are working within. If we have this recruitment agency, it means that we will be able to staff much better for the requirements that are actually needed. Because one of the reasons why we're having such a high turnover is we don't have the amount of staff required for the job available. We're needing a lot more staff to meet the volume of calls that are coming in than what we actually have. Staff are complaining about their working hours, about the amount of back-to-back shifts, about the amount of out-of-hour calls they're getting, about the hours that their shifts are ending at. Well, if we have the casual workers on top of that, our staff would be able to work more normal hours, because between our staff and the casual staff, they would be able to still fulfill the same role. So hopefully our staff turnover would go down and the casual staff would be able to take that. The other major advantage to this is we are in Melbourne and Melbourne is the most multicultural city in Australia. Love Sydney very much, but it is an actual fact that Melbourne is the most multicultural city. And along with that comes a lot of diversity. So when we are looking at bringing in a recruitment firm and a lot more staff, you would be bringing in a lot more diversity into the staff. That also would be reflected within their work, which would also boost the productivity, and it would also make a lot of our staff feel a lot more inclusive or included. The negative side to this is it would mean more staff, which is more wages. However, for what we're paying the agency, we're also then not having to pay our own staff those hours. But the agency rate is slightly higher than what we pay our staff. But if we recruit from them, it is only a one-off fee to bring them on board. Now, we would only recruit the best. So if we receive an agency member who is great and we like them, we can keep them. If we receive an agency member who we think is not so great and doesn't bring a positive attitude to our team, we can send them back to the recruitment agency. We have a one-off fee. It's not a great fee, but we would be able to tell by then if the exact contact service agent was worth that fee. Now, there is the lack of specific training for our specific clients. However, most of what we do on the outer calls is scripted. So they will all get their basic training on the scripts. These agents are used to going out to call centres all across their areas, all across Melbourne or Victoria. So they are used to going out and reading from other scripts. It is more their incoming calls where they have to deal with stuff that is slightly outside of the script, where it comes down to the nitty-gritty of each company's exact specifics. So that could be more where our staff would take over rather than their staff. But after doing a financial analysis on it, it looks to be at a big financial gain for us to be able to provide that, because our customer feedback is our number one selling point, and happy staff make happy customers. Now, the number 2 strategic alliance is something entirely different, and it is coming from a company called Rinaldi Enterprises. Now, Rinaldi Enterprises offers a software which they run. It runs in conjunction with our softwares and all of our company, and it provides virtual employees. So what it basically does is when somebody calls us and their inbound calls or inbound inquiries online, it answers all of the inbound inquiries. So as we have a virtual receptionist already, this, instead of just directing the customer to where they need to go, this will virtually answer any online inquiry. If it is a complex online inquiry, then they will come through and it will work in conjunction with our software that is up and coming, our web chat. So when it is outside of a simple inquiry, it will then come through to our staff on their web chat. But it will answer estimated about 80% of online inquiries, which frees up a massive amount of our time for our staff. So if we can free up that amount of time for our staff, they are going to be a lot happier workforce. That means that they will not have to work those hours. They will not be expected to work the silly o'clock finishes. the ridiculously long hours. That will lead to a much better working environment, much higher morale, and that in turn would reduce the staff turnover just in itself, and we would be keeping our own staff who already know their scripts, they know their job, and they know the company. They are ABC's own staff. They promote ABC's values, and they're the ones who are already getting our high customer feedback. Now, Rinaldi Enterprises is actually another Australian owned company, and it is onshore as well. So the Alliance, it's still ABC's company. So we still get to promote ourselves as the Australian company that is onshore, which is one of the big selling points for ABC. And we are aligned with a company who is also Australian owned and is onshore. We're not actually deducting from the fact that customers, one of their best things they want to do is to be able to talk to people on the phone, because that will always be an option. There will always be the option to call up and talk to people. And when they go into this online chat, they will always be able to press at any point that they want to call up an agent and speak to an actual person. Now, on top of this, there is an option in the fact that most of the younger generations, they actually like the idea of being able to talk to a robot or a bot. They like technology. They like to have access to everything just via their phone. And a lot of the people that we're dealing with these days, they're getting towards that younger generation of the Gen Zs, the Gen X, Gen Y, or whatever digit we're up to these days. And they are the people who we're contacting. They're the people who are contacting us. And they want to be able to do it via just firing off a couple of messages on their phone. They don't want to have to go to a computer. They don't have to call us. They don't have to speak to a person. So this way, that will satisfy the younger generations as well as the slightly older generations, or the people who just simply want that actual one-to-one conversation where you get a bit more of a personalised response. They'll both be able to be answered by the virtual employees, and you'll always be able to just click at any point to go straight through to a phone call. This software would be able to answer everything for every company. And given the fact that it will be able to take away 80% of online inquiries, it means not only can we focus on outgoing calls, it means that ABC would be able to expand the amount of outgoing calls that they can make, and they can expand the amount of incoming calls exponentially that they can bring in. So that means that ABC then has the ability to bring in more customers. So it gives them that market space that they want for their expansion. There is advantages and disadvantages to both of them. I will leave you guys to have a discussion about both of them, and then we will come back to it. Thank you.